Okay, good afternoon. My name is Lemma Tegeng. I am going to present research defense on college students' attitude towards fashion dressing of domestic versus foreign product in the case of some selected private colleges, namely Admas University, Rift Valley University, Queen's College in Fasal Klafto Subcity, Addis Ababa. Acknowledgement. I want to say thank you to those stakeholders, Assistant Professor Tashoma Kabere for his advice and technical guidance, my friends who have supported me in different ways, all respondents who have been involved in this study, my families and my wife, their contribution is undeniable, so they deserve thanks. All teachers who have taught me from childhood to this level, they deserve thanks. A study framework. Fashion can trickle across socioeconomic levels in three directions: trickle across, trickle up, trickle down. When you say trickle down, it means that the fashion may go down from elite, from the wealthy segment of society, from educated segment of society, to downward to the poor, to the youth. When you say trickle across, all socioeconomic levels, they may follow fashion at a time. Trickle up. When we say trickle up, fashion may flow from the poor segment of society, from youth to the older age, from poor to the wealthy segment of society. Demographic characters of respondents like age, gender, income status, education status, living status, all are tied with those variables. Fashion influencers, media, designers, family, peer groups, these are the fashion influencers. Component of attitude, affection, cognitive, and action are the three components of attitude. Decision of preference or consumption of fashion product can be linked with those variables. A statement of the study. Why the topic is necessary to study? Because attitude determines fashion dressing. This was a pre-existing knowledge that was mentioned by previous researchers. A product place of origin and manufacturing affects fashion dressing preference of domestic or foreign fashion products. This was also a pre-existing literature. In Ethiopia, in higher education, Western clothes are popular, while indigenous or domestic clothes are rarely dressed as compared to the past trends in centuries. Muluso stated this one, and it was also another gap. Muluso in 2004 also stated about impact of westernization in culture and linguistics in case of Addis Ababa. He ignored the case from private college. He only focused on government university, mainly on Addis Ababa University. So this study ignored private college, and as well he didn't address issue of attitude in fashion dressing. And finally, he also recommended a detailed and comprehensive study on impact of westernization on fashion dressing. And Muluso also studied from the side of culture and linguistics, and he ignored to study or he ignored to include from the sociological side. Objective of the study. This study has both general and specific objective. The first or the general objective is to investigate college students' attitude towards fashion dressing of domestic versus foreign product. The specific objectives are: number one, to investigate respondent background and its impact on fashion dressing. Number two, to examine the component of attitude in determining fashion dressing. Number three, to examine extent of fashion dressing, influencer, and fashion flow. To investigate whether fashion dressing has impact on college students. Number five, to investigate the logic behind preference of domestic versus foreign product. To investigate impact of globalization on domestic fashion products. These were the objectives. Significance of the study. This study has the following importance. Number one, for domestic and foreign companies or manufacturers and marketers, it will be an input for their performance, just to design a better strategy or plan for their task. So this will be helpful for them. For college students, it will help them just to wear things of high quality, durable, and timeless. In addition, it will help them just to reflect their identity. For other researchers, it will be a clue for further research, and it will be also a literature for further study. For me, it will help me to earn degree of master in sociology from Rift Valley University. For policymakers, it will help them to ratify legislations and promote domestic fashion product in society's identity. Limitation of the study. This study has challenged by the following issues. Number one, the time planned to collect the data was extended due to COVID-19. Some respondents were hesitating to touch papers due to the pandemic. The data collected when a student came to submit their assignment because the college were in lockdown. Internet logged as a result. To receive a comment from advisor was a little bit challenging, or the comment was delayed. Budget issue, as you see, the economy is already shocked by the COVID, so I was unable to cover all expenses fully, all in all. So that was another challenge. Research methodology. The method I have used quantitative and qualitative methods. Quantitative implies the numeric side. Qualitative implies the quality or the narration, and why the justification for using these two in triangulation is because it will help me to measure the study in quantitative and qualitative way. Data source, primary, secondary data source were used. Data collection, three instruments were used to collect the data: questionnaire, interview, and observation. Sample size was determined by using the Manian-Tarro of 1967 formula, because this formula is advisable because it is easy and it is used for known population. N small equals to n capital over 1 plus n capital times e square. Here, n small implies the sample size, n capital implies total population, e implies the error term or margin of error at 90 confidence level, 90-degree confidence level. Method: continued sampling, simple random, quota, and purposive sampling were used. Design: descriptive. This research is a descriptive design mainly because it describes quantity and quality, and the time-dimensional design used for this research was cross-sectional. Because of this cross-sectional help us to take a snapshot about the social world. Reliability was tested by using Crowbatch alpha, and the value gained was 0.707, so this research is accepted. Validity: the instruments were approved ahead before collecting the data by the advisor, and a pilot study for the questionnaire had been conducted. Ethics: the anonymity, confidentiality, opinion difference of respondents were respected. Presentation analysis: tables, charts, and frequency were used to present the data. Finding: number one, demographic characters of respondents like age, income, education has directly or indirectly impact on fashion dressing. For example, if you consider the age, give more value to fashion dressing compared to the older group. Olders less value to fashion dressing. Income: increase in when income increase, fashion, the society will access fashion easily, or the college students can access fashion easily. And when education income decrease, it will be very challenging to afford fashion. Education, when you say, like, for example, when you compare educated and uneducated segment of society, the educated spend less money on fashion dressing because they spend more of their money on educating themselves and when on buying educational resources. Uneducated, more of they spend their money on fashion dressing. Fashion attitude components: the three components of attitude, the cognitive, affective, and action, determine fashion dressing. When you say cognitive, it includes the learning, the knowledge and awareness that we have about a product. When we say affective, the feelings that we have towards a product. It may be liking or disliking of the product. The action, when you say it is directly related to the duties or the profession that we are doing with. Action, the action component of attitude accounts the major role in determining respondent fashion dressing. 43.4% of the respondents implied this. The three components of attitude have different roles in determining respondent fashion dressings. Fashion can flow along three sides. Trickle down. When we say trickle down, it means that a fashion may go from the upper side, from the elites, from the wealthy segment of society to the poor, to the youth, from the older to youth, downward. So trickle across, when it goes along socio-economic levels across. Trickle up, when it goes from the straight, from the youth, from the poor segment of society to the elites, to the wealthy, and to the older age. Majority of the respondents implied that fashion flows across all socio-economic levels. mainly. 48.5 of the respondents responded this, and the justification was status is dynamic in social because in essence of globalization, all people have a chance to be fashion creator or follower. Fashion influencers like culture, subculture, family, and designers or famous people are fashion influencers. Out of all these, media and designers are the most significant fashion dress influencers, and they represent 30.5 of the respondent response. Impact of fashion dressing. Fashion dressing has the following impact: low self-esteem, poor body image, mental illness, copying others. From all those, copying others represents the highest or the major impact of fashion dressing. 50.5% of respondents mentioned this. Fashion dressing has both negative and positive effect on college students' academic career and self-esteem. Majority of the respondents, 48.5% of respondents, strongly disagree with the statement that says I have high self-confidence, self-esteem while wearing fashion dressing in college. Foreign fashion preference are preferred because of life change, increasing in life change, quality, comfort and function, increasing social expression. A respondent prefer foreign made fashion mainly due to quality. Domestic fashion dressing are poor quality, comfortable and uncomfortable, cheap and not durable. Most or majority of the respondents, 29.3, agree as domestic fashion dressing are poor quality, uncomfortable, cheap and not durable. Even if the finding showed that domestic fashion dressing are like tied with a number of weaknesses, respondents have positive attitude. Respondents have still a positive attitude towards domestic fashion product with their weaknesses. Majority of the respondents, 37.4, agree as globalization dilutes or affects the domestic manufacturing markets and domestic culture. Compared to the past, people are also becoming trendy and globalized in their fashion dressing. 47.5% of the respondents strongly about this. Conclusion: the demographic characteristics of respondents directly or indirectly affect fashion dressing of respondents. The three components of attitude have different role in determining fashion decision. Mainly action, 43.4% mention this. Fashion adapt across all socioeconomic levels in different degrees, and media designers are the main fashion dressing influencers. 30.3% of the respondents implied this. Fashion have negative and positive impact on students' academic career and self-esteem. Foreign fashion product preferred still. The respondents have positive attitude towards domestic fashion product with their weakness. Globalization affects the domestic fashion, and now globalization affects the domestic fashion. In addition, people are now becoming trendy and globalized in their dressing, in their fashion dressing. Recommendation: domestic companies they have to design a better strategy to promote or just to win a competition in the market. So they have to design a better strategy, or they have to supply their product in a better way. College students should give primarily their attention to their academics, and they have to consider other issues secondary. Government and policymakers should promote the domestic companies to win competition in the global market. Future research: trend of fashion, role of religion in fashion, transaction of fashion via internet, brand loyalty, role of fashion, rural versus urban fashion, gender, comparison of gender fashion dressing are open for further research. Thank you. It is end now. I'll wait for comment session. Now it is a comment session.